seen anything like that. Violent protests have spread to at least 20 cities across America.
Europe continues to struggle to contain the coronavirus.
A major police emergency unfolding in London
there
tonight.
There are reports of injuries, bodies on the ground.
Deadly U.S. evacuation from Afghanistan.
Israeli airstrikes targeted militants in Gaza.
The White House was under lockdown late.
It is the deadliest terror attack in France in decades.
The UN estimates almost 1 million people have fled their homes.
Because the war in Ukraine has begun.
Greeting guys, how are you? Welcome to the weekly report. We're going to talk about what's going on in Israel regarding the reform and other stuff. So we'll begin what happened in Israel last week. Nothing unique except of the IDF with the security services captured the terrorists that killed the two brothers in Hawara around Nablus. The same ritual, terrorists killed Israelis, and then the Israelis killed the terrorists. It happens, unfortunately, again and again over those weeks we are in. But I want to talk today about the reform and mainly regarding the demonstration and protest against it. This week, a red line was crossed regarding the side that is against the reform. I mean, the left wing that are claiming this reform, legal reform in Israel, it's the end of democracy. And what happened this week is that 44 pilots, army pilots, and declared that they don't want to come to their weekly serving day. Let me explain you. The IDF is a combination of two main things. One, it's all the kids at the age of 18 going to the army till 21. That's the mandatory service. And then we have the reserves. The reserve starts from 21 all the way to 42. Everyone in Israel, after finishing their service 3 years, joining the reserve. The main power, the main source of the IDF is the reserves. Meaning if there is a war now, the reserve, the mandatory soldiers, which are, I don't want to go into the numbers because it's classified, need to hold the line until the reserve will come to their bases, take their gear and jump on tanks, airplanes, ships, each one, whatever he does. Everybody, almost everybody, is in the reserve military, in the IDF, meaning you can be a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, whatever you want, but you should do between 20 to 60 days every year in order to train, in order to be prepared to the moment that the war will happen, like happen from time to time in Israel, and then you join the mandatory services army, and this is what combines the whole IDF as a very big and strong army. So this week, 44 pilots. The pilots, let me explain about the pilots. Pilots in the Israeli army, every week, they come for 1 day training. If they don't do that, they are not cleared to go on an airplane in case of a war or in case of operation. All the attacks you're hearing that Israel is attacking around Syria and all over the neighborhood here, airplanes usually, it's reserve pilots and mandatory pilots. So it's a combination. Now, the demonstration and protest that we are seeing here in Israel, on a political issue, by the way, because right wing want a reform, left wing is against. So all the demonstration and protest is okay. It's legit. You can go to demonstration. You can say what you think. You can block even roads, even though it's not okay. But let's say okay. But the Israeli army, it's a red line. It's a red line because if people, Israelis, will start saying we because of a political dispute, because we don't accept the results of the election, because we don't like Bibi, because, are not coming to serve in the army, I'm telling you guys, this is the end of times of Israel. This is the end of times of it, because it will be a snowball that you cannot stop, because tomorrow a battalion of Golani, which is probably combined from a lot of right-wing soldiers, will get a mission to do something in the West Bank. They said, no, we're not going to do that because it's against my political view. We want the big Israel to be big Israel. So the leaders of the protest, the left wing, are crossing a line which is a very, very dangerous, very dangerous. I'm in person, and you know my opinion about it. I think the legal reform it needs to be done. I think it's right, but I can understand and accept that someone else thinks differently from me. And I can understand that someone else is afraid that what will happen with his rights. It's okay, it's legit, this is democracy. But there is a couple of things in Israel that you cannot touch. You just cannot touch. One of them is the IDF. If Israelis will start taking their service in the army, no matter if it's mandatory or reserve, and apply their political or religious or I don't know what opinion on that, this is the end of times for Israel. This is a snowball we cannot stop because the army needs to be outside of any political dispute or conflict. The IDF, it's one of the only reasons we are in this country and still are in this land. Because if not the IDF, probably all of us will be thrown to sea by our enemies. Now look what said Nasrallah yesterday in his speech. He said, guys, actually, I'll make a long story short for you. He said, we don't need to do nothing. We just don't need to fight the Jews. We don't need to fight the Israelis. They are doing the job by themselves, destroying themselves from the inside perfectly. We just need to sit, relax back, and enjoy the show. The 44 pilots that sent a letter that they were not coming to the weekly training, it's a very, very dangerous step. What is interesting here, that pilots in Israel are considered to be the top of the top, like the elite of the elite. Now, I don't have nothing against pilots, those pilots. Those guys serve this country, risk their life, leaving their jobs every week, and going to a mission, going to training. And what is concerned that if those guys that are very intelligent and they're not like radical people, thinks that the legal reform is the end of democracy, that means we have, not I have, but the government has a very big problem with explaining the reform to the Israeli public, which is another problem we have here. True, they are facing left media and mind engineering and everything you guys are exposed to in your media. But again, if pilots, which are the elite of the elite, is thinking this way, so Houston, we have a problem. Netanyahu, which is the best guy, think about it, to explain the reform, he cannot do it. Because he's under indictment of his trial, when he got into office again, so he did like an agreement of conflicts, and one of the things is they said you cannot deal or be around any legal reform that might impact on your result or your trial result in the future. So the best guy in the neighborhood that can explain to the Israeli public what's the reform, because no matter if you are left or right in Israel, I think Netanyahu has a reputation of a very good leader, a responsible one, and he cannot talk about it. One of the things that the leaders of these protests are using is that Netanyahu cannot talk about it, so they are pouring fuel on this fire all the time. What will be the end? We don't know. I'm not a pessimist guy in nature. I'm very optimist. But we are not in a good season in Israel. I'm telling you all the differences between left and right in Israel. All the deep things that were under the surface are coming to the surface. It's not because of the legal reform. It's a battle between left and right on all the field. In America, the left said diversity, diversity, diversity all the time. We need transgender, we need diversity. Okay, but here it's something else. Here they said it's not diversity. It's just, the right wing is telling them, come and let's talk about the legal reform. They don't want to talk. Like it's our way or the highway. The left wing is feeling that he's losing the power he had in Israel. It's the Supreme Court, it's the media, it's the economic, it's the academy. And he's willing to burn the house on his people no matter what. Pilots that are refusing to come to a training, we are burning the house. We don't care. If it's not our way, nothing will stay here. And this is a very, very dangerous play they are playing now. Pray for Israel, guys. We hope we will find a way to live among ourselves in peace. We had Purim this week. Purim, it's a nice holiday, traditional. In tradition, all the kids wear costumes and exchanging gifts. But on a religious level, it's a very important one, and it's a story of how the Jews years ago in Iran, Paras at that time, they wanted to kill us all, and we overcome that. The thing is that we can usually win our enemies around us. Looks like we have a problem to struggle with our enemies inside of us. And that's the game changer here. Pray for Israel. Love you guys. Shabbat Shalom. See you next week.
Hey guys, I want to remind you about our $5 a month giving campaign. If you want to have an impact on the unreached and unengaged of the world, if you want to see the gospel go forth into the 1040 window, it's as simple as giving $5 a month. We like to say you could give up a cup of coffee and change the Middle East. If you're interested in doing so, you can check out the link below. I believe it's faimission.org/donate or faistudios.org/donate. Thank you very much.